Okay, so I just finished the first row of decreasing, and this is feeling a little tight on the needles. So I'm going to switch to double pointed needles, and I'm going to show you. So row 2 is a full knit row. Take one needle, slide the stitch marker, and now we're going to knit this row that it's just knit, we're not decreasing, onto the stitch mark, onto the double pointed needle. Okay, so here we go. We're going to knit. We're going to knit this section. And we're going to use 3 double pointed needles, and then the 4th one we're going to use to knit with. And we're going to get it all off the circular needle. Okay, so I'm about to come to the end of the first section. So here's one section, stitch marker. Now let's do the next section on the same needle. Move the stitches down, bring your hand inside. We're almost at the next stitch marker. Wait till you see what these decreases look like. They're gorgeous. Okay, before we move that stitch marker, I'm going to take my point protector and put it on the circular needle because I don't want these stitches to come out before they've been transferred to the double needle. Okay, so now we have the stitch marker. And I'm going to do one more section. I'm going to do 3 sections on each double point. So now we're to the next section, and I'm knitting my stitches. Okay, almost to that stitch marker. And here we go. Okay, so there's 3 sections on here. Now I'm going to take another double point and I'm going to put the next 3 sections on that one. Move these stitches down. I'm going to put a little cap on this one too. So I'm on to the second double pointed needle, and I just did 1 section. Remember, we're going to put 3 sections on here. It might feel a little awkward at the beginning, but it's going to be great because nothing's going to be pulling. And then especially as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, it's going to feel much better. So let's move the stitches down. Okay, 2 more for this section, and a stitch marker. Now I'm going to move the stitches around, there we go, from the circular needle, so that they're free. Okay, 2 sections. Let's do another section, which means up to the next stitch marker. Okay. There we go, and slip, and that's 3 sections on this needle. See how it's looking with the different needles? Very easy to follow. And now I take my 3rd double point and I put that in, and then I knit the next 3 sections. So let's push all the stitches up. And we go around And we put, and a stitch marker just went, just ran away. Okay. Now what's great too about using double points is you know that when you start each section, that is the stitch that gets decreased. So put a marker. See, when you have more than one section, you need to see where the second section is, so you need to know where you're going to decrease. But if it's the very first on that needle, you know that that's where you decrease, because you're starting with a section. That makes sense? I think so. Okay, coming to the end. Okay, put this on. It's 1, 2, one more section, and everything will be on the double pointed needles. Or since we're friends, I just call them double points. Okay. We also use double pointed needles when we're making what's called I-cords. Where you used to use something, I know when I was growing up, it was called a horse rein. It was something wooden that had 4 or 5 nails, and you would wrap yarn and then lift it over and it would come out tubular. Well, you make that with double pointed needles where you knit the stitches and you just slide them down to the other end, and they end up turning themselves and it becomes tubular. And those are the kind of ties I make for some baby sweaters. Some people don't like to have buttons on baby sweaters because babies like to grab and swallow, and it's not too safe. Okay, we're getting to the end of this. Now I have a tail at the end because my cat decided to chew off the yarn here. It was on the table. She never gets on the table, but I guess this hat was just too delicious for words. This is what it looks like with your double points. Little triangle. And now it's much easier to knit, and you have your 4th one, that becomes the working needle.